It's one of the most instantly recognisable buildings in the world. The Sydney Opera House, an architectural marvel that plays host to some 2,000 shows and 11 million visitors each year. Now at 51 years old, this UNESCO World Heritage listed performing arts space is more sustainable than ever. And today I'm going backstage to see the innovation at work behind the scenes.
This is building operations, which is where the nerve centre of the Opera House is, really.
Wow, look at this place.
It's around about 66,000 jobs that come through this office, which is manned 24/7. As you know, that's one of the busiest art centres in the world, which we basically don't sleep. So it's a hive of activity. This is where we control everything from the temperature around the building, waste management, all essential services, security services, HVAC, mechanical, you name it, it sort of comes out of this particular office.
It's all monitored from here, the Building Management and Control System, or BMCS for short, an interactive digital dashboard engineered by Honeywell. And one of the most crucial things for any theatre to get right, temperature.
You might have a audience that, we try to maintain 22.5, but if we have a comedian come in, they might want it at 19 degrees.
I'm actually surprised by how much it's varying. Do people in better seats get better temperatures?
Unfortunately.
Is it chilly at the back?
It's not chilly at the back.
Jokes aside, the house has recently been awarded with the highest 6-star performance certification by Green Building Council Australia in recognition as a global leader in sustainable practice. That's partly down to its fresh focus on air quality.
If we do have high pollution levels, we can close down the amount of outside air that we're bringing into the theatre. So as you can imagine, when we were going through those devastating bushfires, we were able to actually control the system to allow low levels of air to be able to come into the venues, enough to be able to maintain the system, but to be able to keep the conditions right for the audience and the artists that are performing on stage.
Over 1,400 different sensors are scattered all around the house, feeding live data back to base.
When we are operating in a comfortable, better air quality space, we are more productive, and even the facility wear and tear reduces greatly. So what the technology is really doing is it's looking at individual spaces every 15 minutes, and it's trying to optimize the energy consumption of that space.
Ah, so that's the temperature there that comes out.
That's correct.
Oh, I've just done something there.
That's all right. You just shut the whole building down.
I better not touch anymore. Time to move on and see some less sensitive instruments. Yeah, these'll do.
At any one time, the Opera House can have up to 20,000 visitors. So keeping them all cool is a big challenge because as soon as they arrive, their body heat naturally warms up the venue.
So its original engineers thought up a solution using what's right on their doorstep.
What we do is we take seawater in from the Sydney Harbour. They run around a series of hundreds of pipes around our domestic water. So that's how we take the temperature of our domestic water down, which in turn allows us to save energy. So we don't actually have to use electricity to be able to do that. We can actually use our seawater, which is one of the beauty of just being on the Sydney Harbour.
Being exposed to the elements has its disadvantages, especially when it comes to outdoor concerts. But the smart system is helping here too.
When wind speed gets up to certain levels, it activates a safety plan, for example, removing things off tables and knowing when to hold a show or an event or a performer coming on stage.
The software has helped the house reduce its water and energy use by 20% in the last 5 years, and is on a mission to become carbon positive by the end of the decade.
6-star is normally something you would give to a new build, right? Where you can use all of the latest technologies, but we're the Opera House. You can't put a solar panel on the roof here. We're a World Heritage listed building. Technology is way ahead of their time, still is used today, that was original to this building.
And that's because its architect, Jorn Utzon, designed with sustainability in mind.
Even the tiles are self-cleaning. The spherical design of the structure allows for good drainage, and the only thing that washes it is the rain.
Every 5 years, each tile is manually inspected and digitally catalogued. All 1,555,000 of them.
That's a lot of tiles.
That's a lot of tiles. So that's a lot of inspections that we need to do around the building, and software like this allows us to actually strip the building down and monitor. So if I had this sort of software 10 years ago, I would know that, the materials I use, I'd be able to monitor the health of the building and really have a data log for, when I leave the Opera House, the next person who takes my job, I'll know how I repaired it. So this sort of information will help the longevity of the building continue.
How do you tackle the challenge of retrofitting this heritage building?
We feel a great sense of responsibility to not just care for this place and to treasure and renew this building for future generations, but we also talk about ourselves as custodians. We all have a temporary existence, and the time that we have as people that work and look after this place is really significant.